So, the new season is upon us and it's time to go again. It is the start of the new Nations Cup season, and I am taking it seriously this time. But Rory, I hear you cry, you always take this seriously. Well, I'll explain what that means exactly later on. But let's see for now if we can get off to a good start. Little disclaimer, it doesn't. Everything that could go wrong seemed to go wrong in this one. Prepare to feel my pain and feel very comfortable knowing that it isn't just you that everything goes wrong for sometimes. It happens to everyone, including me, and take comfort in the fact you don't then have to make a video on it like I do, here on Gran Turismo Sport. Hey guys, Eerie is here, welcome back to the channel and thank you for choosing to join me for another video. If this is your first time here and you like watching all sorts of sim racing related stuff, then subscribe now and hit the bell icon as well so you get notified of every new video I upload and you don't miss a thing. So here we are then in the pre-race practice session. We're going to take a quick look here where as always I'm studying the best time in the region. Now I can do that because this is a one make race. Usually I have to study the best time of a driver using the same car as me, or if nobody in the top 10 times is using the same car as me, I study a similar one. But as this is a one make race here, I can benchmark myself against the very best. And if you're watching this video, wanting to get quicker, you need to be doing this. And just to let you know what I learnt, the main things that I learnt, rather than the usual braking and turning points etc, was that the optimum time to change gears in this thing was between 2/3 and 3/4 up the rev range. Now that is invaluable stuff that quite frankly I wouldn't have worked out myself. And thanks to the bits that I picked up following the fastest in the region, I put in my best lap time, which was a 2:04.604, which in comparison was just about a second off the best time in the region. I was incredibly happy with that though, as this is a long lap of over 2 minutes here at Major, and that's a track that I don't often race at. So I took that time very happily into the quali session. So as the lobby is revealed here, we can see that yet again we're in top split. I was in the second to last race of the evening for this one, and the strength of field certainly has dropped as I'm car number 11. But you can only try and beat what is put in front of you, and we're out on track here with time for only a few laps in this 10-minute quali session. Our first lap as always is going to be our banker attempt. I find myself in a good slot, in the toe, but I don't anticipate the extra speed from being in the draft and end up going deep here, which in the end led to a very slow banker lap, which you can't really call a banker lap to be honest. It was over 2 seconds off the current pole time, so we had to get back out there sharpish. And again I slotted into a good place. We had a double slipstream this time from the guy in second, and the next lap was much better. We managed to put in a 2:05.641, which was 0.9 seconds off pole and good enough for 9th place. And we're going to take that into the race itself now. This race was a standing start, and to my horror, as you can see here and as the lights come on, I'm in the wrong view, which is not good when you still aren't sure what every button on your new racing wheel does. So you can see me here on the wheel trying to press every button, trying not to hit the share button, which would not have been ideal. So as we come down into turn 1 here, we're going to lose a bunch of positions early on. We're going to be down to 12th at this point, but I just need to get through these first corners so I can find the right button to change the view. We eventually do, as you can see me scrabbling there on the wheel, find the correct view and we're down to 13th. But that's going to get much worse here as we come into turn 4, as we're going to get absolutely walloped and blindsided by the Czech driver, which is going to push us, by the time the people pass us there on the right, all the way down to 19th. So we've managed to lose pretty much every place possible within 45 seconds. As V Christian, who got a 5-second penalty despite not being the perpetrator of our incident, quits the race. The only person we're ahead of at this point is the Spaniard, who full started and finds himself at the very back of the grid. So things could be worse. not much worse, but things could be worse here in the opening round of this Nations Cup season. We're keen to get some positions back, so I'm here in the slipstream of the Spaniard, who's in the slipstream himself of a number of cars up in front. I'm not really looking for the move here. He's going to go defensive, but then he's going to brake mega early, which is going to allow us down the outside. Now, I thought I gave the Spaniard enough room here on the inside. Apparently not, as there is contact and I'm going to receive a penalty. And then coming up the hill, I wasn't going to go for the move once again, as quite frankly it wasn't on. But I then get a bump from behind which pushes me up and alongside 17th. I then need to sacrifice myself and take to the grass to avoid contact with the driver in front, gaining myself a further half-second penalty for shortcutting the track. I do manage to gain a position back there though, as the Portuguese driver finds himself in the wall on the left hand side, but all in all, not the greatest of starts here on this first lap at Major. I've got 9 more laps to see what we can do. Let's hope things get better from here. So moving ahead to lap 3 here, we've served our penalty and managed to catch back up to 17th. We obviously want to get past and start making our way back up the field. So coming into the hairpin, I get alongside and we make the move stick. Well, I thought we had anyway. Up ahead you can see there someone was rejoining, so I was concentrating on that and didn't realise on the right I was squeezing the Spaniard off the track. As soon as I realised this, I moved back across, but he was intent on getting past. He bumps me a couple of times coming up the hill. He then takes to the grass and comes right across my face. There is contact and I get another penalty. Whilst I was annoyed at the time, upon reflection I can see why he would have been upset himself. But that isn't reason enough in my opinion to drive that aggressively. I wouldn't have done that myself. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. So as we serve the latest in a long line of the penalties we've acquired already in this one, we're back, you guessed it, in last place. Not good at all. I was hoping to make a bit more progression here, but we're on lap 4 and we're still down at the back. So we need to make up positions, as I said a few laps ago, and I'm right up behind the Portuguese guy up in front as we come through the S's here. We're both pushing, we're both not where we want to be, and we almost lose it in tandem coming up the hill. But we both managed to hold on to the big Bugatti, and I'm sat here in the slipstream looking to make another move down towards the hairpin. I pull out to the slipstream here, we come down, I look for the braking marker on the left hand side, which is that little black box. I'm up the inside and I make the move stick, definitely this time, and off the bottom we rise. Unfortunately though, we're not going to be off the bottom for long, and as we come across the line to start lap number 5 here, I'm staying to the right to ensure that we have the inside for turn number 2. But as I get to the braking point, I remember I should have been saving my tyres, and I just can't get it turned in and lose the place anyway, and we're again back in last place. Our front tyres are absolutely wrecked. The strategy for this one was supposed to be a no stopper, which was possible if you looked after your tyres, which of course, as you would have seen throughout the duration of this video, I have not been doing. My tyre saving strategy of getting punted on lap 1 and pushing as hard as possible trying to recover from serving penalties, surprisingly hasn't worked out for me, and I'm really going to need some luck in this one to limit the inevitable driver rating damage this result will bring. Moving ahead slightly here, and thankfully the 2 Spaniards up ahead hear my cries, and as they come up the hill get involved in some argy-bargy, and one of them comes to the conclusion that destroying both their races is a better option than living to fight another day, and completely takes out his compatriot, promoting us up off the bottom to 17th. Guys, thank you, I appreciate you. And as we round out this lap to start lap number 6, we're going to see people are starting to come in. We're going to make up a position or 2 which in hindsight would potentially have been the better move for us. But it's over halfway, and I felt at this point I had committed to the no stopper. Too many times I've changed my strategy on the fly and it's made a bad situation even worse. So I'm going to stay on these ruined tyres and see what we can salvage out of this race here. I had planned to tell you in this video all about my master plan to bring success to this new Nations Cup campaign. I was going to tell you that as the top 5 races count towards your final score, that I'd been very organised and hand selected 5 races to do. This one being the first one to see how I stacked up against the best players in the country. But things have not gone off to the best start, as you can see here, so we may well have to change those plans, but I'm hoping it provides you some comfort. If you have a nightmare, don't worry, I also have nightmares as well. Rest easy knowing you don't then have to make a video on it. But back to the race then. Here on lap number 8, there's nothing I can do about the Hungarian who's up behind us on quicker tyres. And at one of the biggest braking zones on the circuit, this was a foregone conclusion really. He overtakes us and down to 17th we go. And moving on to the penultimate lap, being down in 17th, we still very much need more luck to limit the damage to our driver rating. But thankfully, for the second time in this one, more drivers up ahead hear my cries. So the 3 up ahead, the first one gets himself a penalty. Then the second one gets himself a penalty. And then, yes, you guessed it, all 3 of them have a penalty. As 2 of them serve theirs, I'm up to 15th now. So that's 4, going to be 5 places that we would have gained from many what we'd call typical Gran Turismo driving. Just be careful, don't take each other out and try not to get silly penalties. Just think of the situation. If we know that the penalty system is very sensitive, just give people more and more room. Do what I did earlier in the race. Sometimes you've got to take extreme measures and try to avoid contact at all costs to limit the penalties you'll get. And as we start the final lap here, the fellow Brit has just seemed to stop on the track there at the end of the pit lane. I'm not going to ask questions though, I need every position I can get, and I'm now up to 14th. As the final of the 3 drivers serves their penalty, we take 13th briefly and are only 2 away from our door number, but then look at the radar, the lunge from hell is going to arrive. I try to cut back underneath, but the Portuguese goes for the gap there as well. There is contact, but thankfully no penalty for either of us. He backs off there to let me keep the position and apologise to me in the lobby afterwards. So I just want to say publicly, no problems at all. This is sim racing. Nobody's perfect, I am far from perfect, and we all make mistakes. And that was all she wrote really for this hellacious start to our new Nations Cup campaign. Everything that could go wrong did. We had a few issues, we were punted on lap number 1, we gained more penalties than I care to remember, and we come across the line to take 14th place. Now, I could be really upset about this and have a right old moan up, but as I said earlier, this is sim racing, and on any game, not just Gran Turismo Sport, some things just don't go well. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't, and this is a prime example, and take comfort from it, that things don't go well sometimes. And this was just one of these races, as you could see. I could go again, but quite frankly I was knackered and coming back from holiday and still playing catch up at work, so whilst the video was uncomfortable to make, and no doubt an uncomfortable watch for you guys in places, we're going to dust ourselves off here and go again in the next one. And until then guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're not already. Thanks again so much for watching though guys, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.